Okay, back to Dora's loft. And we got all the little bitty accessories to do. Let's do this. Okay, the first thing we have on our list is a pet toilet or a cat box, whichever you want to call it. Or it looks like a little kennel, whatever you want it to be. I noticed that this particular kit is a little fiddly and it's a little more advanced. So if this is your first kit, more power to you, because this is a tricky one. But you can do it. Just take your time. So this one, we're just going to layer up the front little lid here. It's a piece of cardboard and a piece of the yellow paper over the top. This kit likes to add little things like this, which is you're going to put a wire all the way around that edging. Easier said than done, because the wire doesn't want to bend that way. So what you're going to do, I'm going to try to pre-bend it a little bit, and then I'm going to glue it and clamp the heck out of it all the way around. It's my best advice on this one. While that's drying, they want you to cut all these little holes, which I'm like, nope, not gonna do. So I'm gonna use my sewing needle that I have handy, and I'm just gonna punch all the little holes. Then it'll look like a ventilation, right? So just punch it all out. You honestly don't see it much once it's in the final build, but there you go. You get the idea. You can make it bigger, smaller. Time to build the body of it. What makes all their furniture pieces and things like that, they're just not square. They always have them raised a little bit, just enough to be annoying, where you can't use your table to flatten it out and things like that. So I would suggest putting one piece at a time, let it dry just a little so that it kind of sticks there. You can see I still have the wire clamped on there because it's not completely dry yet, and it's gonna fall over, but we're gonna. And the other thing is, if you're gonna use this tacky clear glue, use tiny amounts. It sticks faster. So if you're really gloopy like I usually am, it'll take longer to dry and it'll fall over and you'll just get mad. So tiny bits of glue, clamp, and let things dry. It's not the prettiest thing, but it works. I apologize ahead of time. A lot of my filming is off center, so I don't know why. I had it super zoomed in or something, but you'll get the idea. Basically, you're going to wrap this around the archway there. The trickiest part is getting it centered, because you're not sure where to start your paper. So you're going to see me looking at it a little bit, trying to get it centered, but there you go. Not bad for a cat box. It's just a little pet toilet, right? Next, we need a food bowl, because if it's like my cat, they want to eat all the time. So it's this one's pretty straightforward. So we got these two pieces of wood, and we're going to glue them together like a little sandwich. And then on top of that, you're going to put this little seafoam green piece of paper. You're just going to cover it right there. Now, if you wanted to, you totally could just paint this. Either way. And then lastly, we're just going to wrap this long strip of paper all the way around. Now, I always suggest that when you're going to wrap something all the way around, start in the corner. That way when you get to this overlap fold, it looks a little more neater. If you do it in the middle, it kind of shows a little more. But and then you just got to mark it with a name. We're very creative. We're calling our cat Kitten. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this brass piece of wire or gold, and we're going to wrap it around the bowl just to make it a little bit fancy. They don't really give dimensions or anything, so I'm just going to roll it around, make a circle-ish with my round nose, needle nose pliers here, and then I'm going to fit it to the little bowl plastic piece. Once you got about the size, just trim the excess there and glue it on. And you're just going to glue it kind of on the top so that the bowl doesn't go all the way through the little green piece there that you made. And glue it in. Don't push it all the way through like I did the first time I did this. It does go through. But hopefully that little brass piece, it kind of holds it up. And so you know how far to actually press it through. Last thing you're going to do is make some food. Because the cat's going to get angry if you don't put food in it. And I'm just going to use an extra piece of the cardboard that they have. And just fringe it up and cut the other way to make little teeny tiny confetti. And this is going to be our cat food. And ta-da! Just like the real thing. Mmm, yummy. All right, now we're gonna make probably the most difficult, annoying, frustrating piece in the whole thing. This little sash. Now, the dimensions they do give you the 15 millimeters, 11, 15. So that arch, it doesn't really tell you, but I looked back in the book and I noticed that it goes in the arch of this piece. So I tried to be clever here and just kind of form it to the inside so that I know it will. Ultimately, it doesn't, FYI. Just it should fit right there. So that's going to be my form, and I'm just going to form the second piece just like I did the first one. And then glue them together there. I should have put my cut piece in the middle on the bottom, because doing it on the corner there, it did not want to glue there at all. So just don't do as I do. Do as they did in the chart, actually. They did the cut at the very bottom. Next, we're going to do a circle. There's a lot of little pieces here, and they don't give sizes or dimensions or anything of how to do these. They just say, take your 50 millimeter wire and make a circle. Okay, so that's what I did. And then this one, we have to make like a little flower piece. And again, they don't give you much direction, then make it. So just do your best. I had to redo this probably 2 or 3 times before it got to where I liked it. I ended up just making a long line of just squiggle wiggles. You can kind of see it. Again, I'm off center. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention. I was really focused on making this thing. Just make a long line of squiggles, and then you kind of put it in squish it up into a circle, and then you kind of get a flower. There we go. We're getting there. Ta-da! Probably the hardest part of this whole thing is getting these pieces to stay together. So I did glue it and clamp all these pieces. You can see them in the back there. And just let them dry. You get to a point where it's like, I don't even care if the glue is sloppy. It's a win if they stay together. Alright, I do this a little bit out of order, but you're going to make this little teeny tiny circle that goes in the middle of the flower. So that one's pretty straightforward. We can make circles and then just glue it in there. And then you got to put the flower in your bigger circle, which of course does not fit. So I figured, well, we're just going to glue it on top of the circle. They kind of wanted it inside the circle. We'll get the right idea. We'll make it our own design, right? Again, these little tiny clothespins, we're just going to clamp the heck out of it. Hey, whatever works, right? Once that's dry, it's supposed to fit in the middle of this piece. You're like, oh geez, okay. So far so good. And then you're gonna cut. Now I waited to cut these little tiny pieces because I knew that my sizes are gonna be off. So I'm just gonna cut made to order basically pieces to go into these little slots. Because the sizes that they indicated, it won't work. Well, at least in my case, it wouldn't. It's fiddly. It's annoying. The glue is very stringy and wants to fall apart. Just do your best. If you have to, I would probably just do one little piece, let it dry. One little piece, let it dry, because once one falls out, then they all fall out. And I did give this one a timeout a few times. After a little bit of struggle, we did finally get an end product. Now, just to make it even more difficult, we have to make this kind of a 3D pop-out window look. So, I'm thinking about how I'm going to do that without things falling apart. And they will. And I figure the easiest way, so I actually cut the 4 pieces that go all the way around in between the 2. And we're going to do this one piece at a time, very delicately, and tiny bits of glue. Yeah, I tried dangling it, I tried holding it, I tried putting it there. It always fell over, so my best bet was just to set it up and prop it up with everything that I have around me. I eventually did get it to work. So once I got it to tack down a little bit, I held it up like this and let it dry a little more. They're not going to be straight. That's okay. Once you get this far, then you got the next challenge. You got to attach it to your other piece. Hold your breath. It's not going to fit perfectly, but again, we'll do our best. At least we made it. It's not... Yeah, you know, if I made this kit again, I would probably just make my own kind of design or leave it out. Maybe make a little stained glass window or something. Now, before I picked this up or even touched it, I just propped it up. I put in the gap, my little nail clippers there, just to keep the gap open. Otherwise it would slide and fold on itself. And then I just let it dry. I did another project before that. In between that, you can see a kind of little hint on the side there. And let it dry. So you gotta be a master of multitasking here. Not bad. I mean, all things considered. It's not beautiful. I wouldn't be like, ooh, let's put this on my house, but you know. Now, while you can see it up there, I was drying that, I was doing this little ornamental flame. This one's not too bad. I figured, if I did that one, I can do this one, no problem. So basically it's just a square and a bunch of little C shapes. So we'll make the square, and we learned from the other one, make sure our cut part is in the middle on the bottom there, or on the side. Now these pieces, all you're going to do is put loops at each end, and you can honestly do whatever you want. This is going to be a little garden gate in the end. So you can get as fancy, or you can just put straight lines, whatever you want. But I found putting the little circles in here and putting it in, it wasn't that bad at all. Not at all. I got my little pieces, and then I did pre-fit them in my square. That way you can either squish them down more or open them up more, or however that you need them to fit. And then just glue them in. I did put them in without glue, just to get them in the right place so that I'm not fighting that silly glue. And then I glued it. It's a little tricky, you kind of have to hold it down because this glue is very stringy. It's very annoying. It works great, but it's a learning curve to work with. And it's a little fiddly. But like I said, this is nowhere near as difficult as the white sash was. This was not a problem at all. There we go. And I did opt out of doing the little hinges on the side. Decided, you know what? I'm gonna make my life a little bit easier. Okay, let's make a toolbox. So, we've worked with paper, making boxes. This will be nothing compared to those other things, right? It really was pretty easy. So, they wanted you to cut the silver tape to the size of that. I'm going to make my life a little easier, and I'm just going to cut the pattern out and stick this tape directly to it and then cut it out. Once I got that all stuck and cut out, then I very lightly ran along the dotted lines so that it has some creases to go by. And then I just folded it up and glued the corners. I used my pliers to kind of clamp each corner down so that it's nice and square. And there we go. We got, I think it's the lid of the toolbox. Now we're going to make the bottom. Same thing, just cut out, except you're not sticking tape on it. So just cut it out, lightly score the dotted lines, and fold it up and glue. Now we're going to find out if we did everything right by putting the lid on. I like making these little boxes. They're nice and easy, satisfying. Ta-da! And then we're going to cut out the little hinges. They always say cut it to 10 and then cut it in half. Just cut 2 pieces. You don't have to do it twice. Cut twice. So, and then just put the little hinges where hinges go. Now for teeny tiny pieces like these little circles, I don't cut them ahead of time because I will lose them. So I always cut them when I need them. So these I'm going to just stick on here. They had you cutting the circles out and then sticking the foil on and then cutting them out again. Just stick the two pieces together, then cut them all at once. Believe me, it'll be easier. And they're just little teeny circles. These are like the buttons or the locks on your toolbox. And then you're going to need these long strips. All right, now we're going to stick the two shorter pieces on the front. They're kind of like the fasteners of the toolbox. And then stick the little circles. By all means, use your pliers or your tweezers. I just, by habit, I use my fingers all the time. For me, it's easier, but because I've never really made things with tweezers that much, I just use my hands. And then I get glue everywhere. It's not the best practice, but that's what I'm comfortable with. And with these, I pre-folded them to fit. So I just folded to approximately the size of the box there, because they're going to kind of fold over like that. And then just glue them down. And you just glue them to match with your little fasteners on the front. And it's starting to look like something, huh? And then you're going to make a little handle. So I just use my little pinky finger or something round to kind of make that arch. And then you make two little folds on each side. The more you pre-fold, the easier it is to glue down. Because especially with something this small, you don't want to fiddle with it too much. If it was a life-size toolbox, you could probably stick it on straight on. It would be much easier. And there we go. Cute little toolbox. Ta-da! All right, remember in the very, very beginning it said you needed a needle and thread? This is going to be what it's for. This is the only sewing project in the whole thing. Unless you sewed those little pillows. Either way. So what you're going to do is make 2 circles. And then you're going to get your needle and thread out here for this. You are going to put the pretty side, the side you want to show to the world, fold them inside. So, and then you're going to sew all the edges. I am not the best sewer. The only stitches I know is, the little whip stitch all the way around. So that's what I'm going to do. I did end up kind of putting a dabble of glue all the way around the edge just to seal it up. But I know you guys are way better sewers than me. So just go all the way around. Whatever stitch you're comfortable with. Once you got it all stitched up, leave a little hole there and just turn it inside out. You should have a big circle. Once you got your circle, then you're just going to stuff it. Don't make it like it's a super foofy pillow, because you're going to manipulate this a little bit. Just enough to have a little bit of cushion. Think of it like a duvet cover or something. You want it kind of poofy, but kind of flat at the same time. Then once you get it there, then for me, the challenge is to seal it up without it looking terrible. Just stitch it up. Good enough. There we go. Not bad. And then you get a little flat pillow here. All right, next you're just going to have little stitches. You're going to kind of quilt it, I guess. And make a circle in the middle there. It's going to be this is going to ultimately be the cat bed. Honestly, cats will sleep on anything, so just put an old dirty shirt down. They'll lay on it. Did I say that I'm not a great sewer? That's okay. Aw, look it. She tried. And then what you're going to do is This one was tricky for me. So you're gonna make long stitches and then pull it like a drawstring. Didn't work exactly for me. I mean, I think I did pretty much what they wanted, but for some reason it was tricky to pull it into that gathered bag look. Ta-da! And it could be because maybe I put too much cushion in it. Not sure, but it looks comfy to me. See? It's not that bad. I'd curl up in that. Alright, now we're going to make a little collar. Another little fiddly thing. There's a lot of little fiddly things in this episode, but you know. We're doing them all together. So we're just going to make a long strip of this red felt. And this kit, you're going to have a lot of leftovers because for that red felt, that's all you use. That's it. And then you have this big old strip. I am going to end up making something out of all the leftovers from all the kits. I have plenty of material. And then you're just going to take this, these little strips of black, and you're just going to wrap it around the middle and the two ends. Alright, next you're going to make this little, the little ID tag, you know, on the collar. And it's just basically, you're going to cut a little square off the end of this. Again, this is the only thing this is used for. And you're going to have a whole bunch left over. So, I mean, I'm glad they're generous in case you mess up. And then you, once you get your square, you're going to very delicately cut the corners of this. You could skip this if you want to. This metal, though, is very soft, so it's very doable. Or you could probably sand it a little bit with your emery board. Alright, you're going to see in the diagram that they want you to make certain pieces. I did a little differently because I wanted to save my sanity here. So I took this very thin wire, and you could have used this wire too and strip it, but why when you have this wire? It's a little bit stiffer than the other wire, but you don't have to strip it and break your nails and all that. And then for the middle, what I did is I just pre-put it in there. If you have it glued down really well, it's tricky, but I put it in here, and then I'm going to loop the ends. There we go, like that. And this is just going to be what the little tag will hang off of. And then you're going to make two little eye pins, so it's going to be a loop at the end. And I suggest not cutting the whole wire, just put a loop and then cut it. It's a lot easier to handle. Just like that. You're going to make two of those. And these are just going to get jammed into the ends, so glue one on each side. This is basically, you know, where the collar latches in the back. This is purely for decoration, so just make it the best you can. Here we go. Alright, once you get to this point, we got the loop in the middle, the two at the ends. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the little tag on the end, the circle in the middle here. Ta-da! So far so good. You do tiny things like this, it's very satisfying when it all goes right. So you're supposed to put a loop in the middle of these two sides. So what I've decided to do was clamp these together so they're not opposing forces here pulling it apart. And then I'm just going to make a loop out of whatever wire I had handy, which happened to be this green wire. It's supposed to be the silver, but for some reason I couldn't find my wire at that time. And so I just made a big loop, and I'm going to hook them together. And you can see with clamping these together, it makes it a little easier. Plus you have a kind of a handle to work with. And just clamp them together, just like you'd put on a bracelet. It's tricky then too. There you go. Got yourself a little cat collar. It's a little big for a cat, but actually it might fit. I don't know. Now we're going to make a camera. I will say this was my favorite, and I thought it was, I really was happy with how it turned out. This was fun. First thing you're going to do is just sandwich these two pieces of wood together. This is just going to be our base of our camera. And next, we're just going to wrap it up in this tinfoil tape stuff. And you can do this however you want. I just did it where I cut it kind of to size and then wrapped it around. I did both sides, and then later on I realized you don't need to do the back, but you know, I have to, you know, be a completionist here and do the whole thing. It's pretty easy. This little duct tape stuff is pretty easy to work with. Once you get it to this point where it looks like a little sandwich wrapped in tinfoil, you're going to do a long strip, and I just eyeballed it. They really don't give you dimensions or anything. So I'm just going to make a long strip of tape and just go all the way around the edge. This part you do want to do because it kind of makes it a little more finished looking. If you do it too wide, not a big deal because you can wrap it over the edge or trim it. Next, we're going to have this long strip of the cardboard. It does have dotted lines on there where it wants the creases to go, which is helpful. And on those dotted lines, just either fold it by hand or do a real light scoring on it like I did. Helps you bend them. Wrap it around all the way to the back. Again, the back's going to get covered, so it's okay. And it's going to be kind of down towards the bottom. So this is an old school camera. And this is when I realized, I didn't have to cover the back. Oh well, with the foil, you get lots of extra parts. I have bags and bags of extra parts. So I'm just going to glue this to the back. So it's kind of got the black on the back. Alright, now we're going to make the little shoulder strap for it. And basically it's just two circles. It told you to use the silver. I just used the white. It doesn't really matter. They give you, like I said, they give you plenty of wire. So just make whatever you want to use. I used the white because I thought it would look cool with the black straps, the white clasps. Once you get your two itty bitty little strips of paper, I found the easiest was to clamp it, put it through, like threading a needle here, put a dabble of glue, and then clamp it with my baby clothespins. And you're going to do two of them like that and let those dry. While those are drying, we're going to cut out the long shoulder strap, which says camera. In case you don't know, it's a camera. And we're going to do the same thing. So with the clothespin on there, it makes it a lot easier. So we're going to thread it through, and then we're just going to fold over the ends and then clamp it again. There we go. That wasn't bad at all. I like how it looks too. This would be cool in ribbon too. I was thinking about it, I was like, I could recreate this. Make it a little more fancy. Okay, again, I leave these teeny tiny pieces until I actually need them, because I will lose them. So they have you cutting the circle out and then tracing it and then cutting it. Well, the advantage is this plastic is see-through, so we're just going to trace it that way so we don't have to cut more than we have to. And I am going to cut that out along with this the black strip, this is going to be the camera lens. And we're just going to make a tube. If you haven't invested in some tools, I would recommend these round nose pliers. They are so helpful, especially if you do things like this all the time. They have a nice point at the end, and the roundness of it helps you make tubes like this. I use it all the time. It's probably my favorite tool of everything. All right. Make sure you remember to take the film off. It's on both sides on these. At least mine was. It's a little tricky on the teeny tiny, but it makes it a lot clearer. And then you're just gonna glue it on the end of your little tube you just made. You can barely see it, but it's there. It's there. Next, we're gonna make a circle for the end of the tube. So we're just using the round pliers to our advantage here. See how nice and easy that is? And then we're just going to put it at the end of our lens. Just like that. Ta-da! Alright, now let's start putting it together. So, camera needs a lens. Let's stick her on. And we're going to make the buttons for the top. Again, I don't do these itty bitty things until I actually need them. You could also use little beads, would work just as well, like a yellow bead and a black bead. Probably be a little more cleaner too. And then a tiny little circle. I think this is the viewfinder. And then let's glue them on. And last thing we're going to do is we're going to glue on the straps on the side. Pretty easy, just hold them on with your finger. If you use a small amount of glue, it'll stick right away. And ta-da! I love this little thing. It's so cute! Alright, our girl Dora, she has a little tablet or an iPad because she's got to listen to her latest podcasts and watch DB's Handicrafts, on YouTube. This one's pretty easy. So for the tablet itself, we're just going to sandwich all these pieces together. And there we go. Ta-da! There's the tablet. That's pretty much it. Alright, the tricky part is making the little headphones. I tried doing it the way they are. So, if you've ever stripped wires for like when you do the lighting and things like that, you just kind of lightly score it and then pull it off. But what's tricky on this one is you need to leave the ends on and take the middle off, which is easier said than done. I did end up stripping the whole side and then just putting the end back on. I guess I could have used one of the thin silver wire and then just did some shrink wrap on each end. But I'm trying to do it how they say. It's going to come all the way off. So yeah, it came off, but that's okay. We'll just glue the piece back on just like that. Ta-da! We got our headphones, kind of, sort of. And then you just kind of bend it, squiggle wiggle, like it's just laying on a table. Just think of how when you throw your headphones on the countertop, how they land. Try to make it look naturally squiggly. Now we were supposed to glue the ends in between those some of those pieces, but that's okay. We're gonna glue it to the bottom so it looks like it's plugged in. We'll make it work. After a little bit of manipulation there. Ta-da! Perfect. Very cute. Okay, next we're going to make some candles. This is a new technique, but it's very easy. The only hard part was cutting out that stupid blue box thing. They always want you to cut out all these teeny, teeny, tiny squares. It's like, good thing I have a sharp knife. That's all I can say. But I didn't do all the little squares. I just did like the center pieces. And then just like all the other boxes, we're just going to pre-score it very lightly, and then we're going to glue all the corners here. And there we go. We got a little crate box. Okay, now we're going to make the candles, and there's 3 of them. Now, I will say you do not need to be super precise on these because, in all honesty, once you stick these in the box, you won't see them. It's kind of annoying, especially because they do turn out pretty nice. But you'll probably see the end of the tallest one. In fact, you could probably make them all really tall. You get plenty of material to work with. So you're going to cut this stick. It's like a popsicle stick. It's all paper wrapped around. And then you're just going to... I just pre-scored it on the end, and then you're just going to peel some of the paper off on the end there. Just enough to make it look like there's a wick. And just like that. Looks like a little pencil or something. And then so it looks like a used candle here. We're just going to use some black pen and just burn it up. And you'll make 3 of those. They turned out pretty good. I might use this technique again. And then you just put them in the box, and this is when you realize, oh, you can't really see them, except for the taller one. But there you go. Ta-da! Now we're going to make 2 cups for our juice here. And real simple, so we're going to make the straws, which is the yellow wire, the thicker yellow wire. And you're just going to cut them and then squiggle them up because they're crazy straws. And then we're going to use the thicker white wire, and we're going to make 2 circles. This is going to be the rim of the cups. And I'm just double checking they're the right size because that would stink once you get going here. I like to, on these pieces, I like to get the pieces all ready because then once you start gluing, it's hard to stop in the middle. All right, let's start putting them together. So just find yourself, I got a paintbrush here that happens to be the right size to wrap it around and make a tube. And I'm going by the size of the rims that they give me, those little circles. Just make it so it matches that width, diameter, however you measure those. Once you got your tube, you're just going to put the bottom on. And now we're going to put the rim on. If we measured right, this should all fit together. And lastly, we put the straw. Ta-da! Very cute. All right, we're going to revisit clay again. So what we're going to do is make a little tiny milk bottle. And we're just going to cut out the label. That's the only cutout part, really. And then we're going to use this white, this is the weirdest clay, and we're just going to make a little milk bottle. It's kind of like a little candy corn shape, I would say. And I just make sure it's flat on the bottom so it stands up. There we go. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of red, just make a little teeny tiny round circle and flatten it out. And that's going to be the lid to our milk bottle. Last but not least, we're going to stick the little label on. Ta-da! And Dora has some strange little souvenirs here. We're going to imagine that she went up to the North Pole and thought she needed a little snowman statue. So, I mean, you've made snowmen before, right? It's just two circles stuck together. Make sure it fits on your base here, so don't make it too big. And then we're just going to use some of this red and we're just going to make a little scarf. Just a long snake, and we're going to wrap it around the neck. Mine looks a little more like a Boy Scout kerchief, but you know, you get the idea. Alright, now we're going to make the base. And the favorite of this kit is sandwiching two pieces of wood together. We're going to cut out this little piece and pre-score it to make our life easier. Don't cut all the way through, just very, very lightly. If you cut all the way through, that's fine. You can just glue it on because it's just going to be boop there to wrap it around. Again, if you wanted to, you could just paint the piece. And then stick them together, and there you go. Ta-da! Another decoration was this little cone, and in all honesty, I did not put it in the project because once I finished it, it was like, this is silly, and it's ugly, and nah. But it's just basically you cut the paper piece and then roll it into a cone. Meh. Alright, now we're going to make a little sign. This goes on the tree. It's a cute sign. It says, I love three things: nature, cat, and life. Yeah. So we're just going to put this little sign on the white cardboard piece. And then we're going to wrap it with this gold wire. And I'll say I just wrapped it around. I didn't measure, so I wanted it to fit just right. So just fold it to that. We like less stress, right? once I got it to the right size, just like that, we like it when it works out, we're just gonna glue it on. Alright, while that's drying, we're gonna make these little flowers. It's basically just 3 petal things stacked up. So what you'll do is you'll cut all these itty bitty little pieces and then just kind of squish it in the middle. It looks like it hurts my finger, but it doesn't. So you're just going to squish it up so that it kind of poofs up like that. And you're going to do it to all 3 pieces. And then you're going to glue them all together. So it makes a flower. At one point I did lose one of them, but the nice thing about this kit is they do have extra parts and pieces of the paper cuts. They only have 1 extra part of each color, so if you lost all of them, then you'd have to get creative and maybe cut from some construction paper or something. But you're going to make 3 different colors, just like that. And then now our sign is nice and dry. We're just going to glue it to the side there. And then we have a little hanger on there. Just like that. Very cute. Since this goes on our tree, might as well glue it on our tree. Now at first, I just glued it straight on like that. And then I decided it looks a little better if it was actually hanging off of a branch. So what I did is I just pulled up the handle just a little bit and then I hung it off. You could do it either way. I just liked it this way. Ta-da! There we go. Alright, now we're going to do a bunch of signage here. So there's 2 signs. Very easy. We're just gonna, put it in a sandwich. So the black cardboard onto the white cardboard, and then the little sign. Small garden, in case you didn't know. And there's this one. Apparently Carrie's garden is over there. And it's full of love. And we have one more picture. And this one, this is nice to have, after you do all that wire work and things like that, you're like, a nice easy project. So we're just gonna put this little picture of the kitty onto the piece of wood. And then we're gonna put the frame around it. And then we put the little back piece so that it could sit on the shelf. It does ultimately, it took me a while to figure out where it goes, but it goes on the little yellow shelf eventually. And lastly, we got a bunch of little pictures. Dora loves her cats, so she's got lots of funny pictures of cats. They're pretty cute. This one, again, pretty straightforward. The only tricky part, if there is a tricky part, is cutting out the little center pieces of the frames, because it is smaller. But you just sandwich it together, so you put the white cardboard, the pictures of the cats, the cardboard piece, and then the paper piece. And there's all your pictures. Ta-da! They are cute. Would I hang them on the wall? Maybe. All right, we got all the little accessories done. Whew. Yeah, I was going to put them all together with the furniture, but there was so many that I had to make a separate video. But we officially got all the parts and pieces done. Yes. And now we will go on to the finale and put it all together. This is a tricky one, but we're almost there. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the grand finale. And hit the like button too so that I get into your recommendation. And I will see you next time. Bye.